All right, here we go. I'm about to start documenting my path to scratch golf. I'm about to get back to scratch. Well, actually, I was never at scratch. I was a two, but I was fucking close. All right, so either way, now I'm super trash. So I'm about to document my path to scratch golf. And anyone who knows me, I was a pretty good athlete. High school, football, basketball, baseball, was good at all three, had some small looks, stuff like that. That doesn't matter, long story short. The reason why I say that, because it doesn't matter how athletic you are when you play golf. Like golf is the hardest sport there is. There's no other sport where you can feel like you just forget how to do it. Like there's no other sport. It'd be like LeBron James forgetting how to shoot a layup, or doesn't want to drive to the basket because he's scared he doesn't know how to dunk anymore. The reason why I say that is because a lot of you guys don't know. I mean, Charles Barkley used to be like a 5 or 6 handicap. I don't know exactly what it was. Don't quote me on it, but look it up. He used to be good. Now look at him. It's awful. It's awful. And Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer of all time, not this last comeback, but a few comebacks ago, remember, he had the chipping yips. He couldn't even chip the ball. He was putting from 20 yards away. He was scared. He would chunk it, just whatever. He had the yips. The greatest golfer of all time couldn't chip anymore. Like, that's why I said it's like LeBron James. I don't want to shoot a layup. I don't want to drive to the basket because I just don't know how I'm going to do it. And so that's why it's crazy. Or you got David Duval, who was the #1 player in the world, fighting with Tiger Woods. I wasn't watching golf back then, so I know David Duval as an announcer. The only reason why I know he used to be good and all that is because one of my boys started calling me David Duval because I got good, and now I just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And so that's how I found out about him. Or listen to the guys that win on tour. Now, I'm not talking about like Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas and the guys who win all the time. I'm talking about the guys who haven't won in a long time. Or, for example, like Webb Simpson. I remember when he hadn't won in a long time, his interview after thing, he's like, yeah, there was plenty of nights where I cried over dinner, thinking I couldn't do it anymore. I had to figure out something else to do. Luckily my wife told me to keep pushing through. Grown man crying, thinking he can't play golf anymore. Again, it'd be like LeBron James. Well, LeBron's, the greatest. I'd be like Tiger. But either way, it's, you got grown man being like crying, like I can't do this anymore. Jason Day, who was the #1 golfer in the world. I was watching one interview with him. He was like, a lot of people don't know, before I got third or whatever he did in the Masters, he was like, I was ready to quit. I had missed like 9, 10 cuts in a row, couldn't golf anymore. And I was just telling myself like, I'm at the age where I'm not too old yet to start something else. Like I'm going to have to figure something else out, and then he got third or whatever. His coach fixed him up, worked. He got third. Then he won a few weeks later. The next thing you know, he goes on a tear and he's #1 in the world. But that's a grown man. That'd be like, he was #1 in the world. Steph Curry being like, I don't know how to shoot anymore. I just got to figure out something else to do. Like that doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. A baseball player, being like a pitcher. I can't throw a curveball anymore. I don't know. No, he's just not throwing strikes. He's like, no, I just don't have it that day. But he's not like, how do I grip this ball? Like, I can't throw this ball anymore. I don't know. Do I snap my wrist this way? Do I snap my... No, he's just like, I couldn't throw it that day. But you have golf is a sport where you're like, I can't hit the ball anymore. Jordan Spieth, the #1 player in the world, finally just won. But he was like, it's hard to play golf when you step on over your driver on a tee shot and you don't know which way it's going. You have no idea where this ball is going to go. I mean, that's why golf is the hardest sport there is. You can argue with yourself because anyone who picks up a golf club, they're not good. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit. So that's why it is. And reason why I make this video is because I picked it up late, around 24, 25. I'm 34 now, getting old. But within like my first 3 years, I got good. I was shooting in the 80s and I broke down to 70s. I got down to a 2 handicap. My best score was 1 under. I won my boy Will, his dad's tournament, shooting 1 under, won the long drive, all that shit. Everyone's talking shit. And then a few weeks later, I had my buddies, me and my boys, guys I grew up with. They do like some of them I grew up with, but they do like a Ryder Cup tournament. And I shot 3 under on a 9 there. So I was like, man, to be honest, I was like, man, I'm ready for the tour. Like, I shot 1 under once or twice, and then shot 3 under on 9. I was like, man, I've only been playing for like 3-4 years in Minnesota, a cold state. So really, imagine if I could play all year, and I play like 3-4 days a week, you know. So I'm like, man, imagine if I just played every day, you know, and I just practice every day. I might be ready for the tour. And so that's where I was feeling. And then all of a sudden, that was for like 1.5 years when I was starting to get good. And then all of a sudden I couldn't hit my wedges. It was just my wedges. It would go 100 yards in the air and like 50 yards. And I'm like, why can't I hit this anymore? Like, that used to be my 60 degree would be like my 100-yard club, but it would just go 100 yards in the air and like 60 yards distance. I was like, man, what's going on? But it was just my wedges. So I was whatever. I finally started to like look at some videos and all that stuff. Like, I used to watch the Golf Channel, and that's how I learned how to play golf. I always tell people, like, no, I never had a lesson, but I had the best teachers in the world, because Golf Channel, all those people, I'd be like, all right, try that. That doesn't work. Bump it. I'm not going to do it. A lot of times I didn't even know what they're talking about, because at first, when you first start golfing, golf is a foreign language. Like, you're coming over the top, your grip's neutral, your grip's strong, you're blah, 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 this and that. Like, a lot of people would tell me what I'm doing wrong when I first started, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, cool. I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, I was a baseball player, played a lot of baseball. So, of course, most baseball players start off with that big slice, and I just let my hands figure out how to make it go straight. And then once I figured out how to make it go straight, that's when I got pretty good. And I got good hands, so I have a good short game. But so, yeah, a lot of people coming over top, doing this, doing that. You know, you got to stand further away. You got to stand closer. I didn't even know what they're talking about. I'm like, yeah, whatever, and just swing. And then I figured it out. But then once I started with those wedges, started watching all these YouTube videos and Instagram and all that stuff. And it can be good. It can help you. But then you also can get lost. And that's what happened to me. I got lost. Like, put your hands here, try this, try that. Doing all this stuff, all of a sudden it leaked into all my clubs, where all of a sudden my 9-iron goes from being like my 160, 165 club to my 120 club. 8-irons like 170, 175. It's going 130, 140. You know, driver I used to carry 270, 280 to I can't even hit a driver 200 yards. So I'm like, bump that. You know, like, this is terrible. My swing might have not looked the best or whatever. It worked before. Screw the wedges. I'll hit a knockdown pitching wedge from 100 yards if I have to. Like, I don't care. Let me just go back to my old swing. I got to be able to hit the ball. But I couldn't go back to my old swing, because I was like, I was all feel. I never was like, put the club here, put the club there, do this, set your wrist early, set your wrist late. I just reared back and swung and let my hands figure it out. And then that was it. So I just felt it. Like, once I felt this spot, I'm like, all right, I can swing as hard as I want. But I've never been able to feel that spot. And since I was like, put it here, put it there, I couldn't just go back to feel. It was still so focused on put it there. Well, where did I used to put it? Where did I do that? And so for the last 3-4 years, it's just been like mental purgatory, where like every other shot, it's like, try this, try that, try this, try that, because it doesn't work. You know, and I got a good short game still, so I can still like shoot a decent round every once in a while, but it's not a good feeling when you're going driver off the deck on a par 4 just to get it close to the green to get up and down. Like, if I have a good score, it's because I got up and down 14 out of 16 times. That's stressful as hell. Stressful as hell. And me, I'm too stubborn to be like, nah, boys, I'm not betting anymore, because golf's a gambling sport. And I took a lot of their money for a long time because I was good. So now that it suck, I can't be like, I'm not betting anymore, because guess what? They used to be trash and still bet me, and I would take their money willingly. You know, I used to have to give them strokes and still take their money. And so I'm like, I have too much pride. I'm like, so I still gamble. So I still got to figure it out and do dumb shit like that, like driver, and then get up and down for par. So it still works, but it doesn't feel good. Or I'm 150 yards away, I'm hitting a 7-iron when I should be hitting like a pitching wedge or like just an easy 9. It's like, all right, I'm hitting a 7-iron 150. It used to be my 185 club. Like, this is ridiculous, but you got to do it. And I never had a lesson. I always, just figured it out myself. And so today is my first lesson. So this is my first rant on getting back to scratch. And don't quote me on that. I know I was never scratch, but 2, that was close enough. That was close enough. So this is my path back to scratch golf. Hopefully this can work. Hopefully this guy can teach me something, because I can't do it anymore. Just being like, try this, try that, or you got water, with a 210 carry distance, and I'm shaking like I don't have a club I can carry this with. Like 210, I don't know. I could roll something 210, but I don't think my drivers even go 210. That's crazy. Of course, I used to play at, I look at a bunker that's 260 out there. It's like 270 to carry it. I used to aim at that bunker. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'll just carry it. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Now I aim at that bunker because I'm like, it's fine. I won't even get there. Like I might roll like 20 yards short of it or 30 yards short of it, whatever. So this is the first rant on trying to get right, and hopefully this guy can get me right. My boy Twilight hooked me up. He's got a beautiful swing, and he's not too far away. I just got scared to get lessons at first. So I'm like, I'm already in my own head, like try this, try that, so it's just gonna be more thoughts. And but at least it will be one guy's thoughts instead of, the internet has all the best golfers in the world, but and all the teachers, I should say, in the world, but they all have, kind of different opinions, so hopefully narrow it down to just one thought, because I finally broke down, because a lot of my boys, they're getting better, so I don't want to lose any money. My little brother's really getting into golf now. He's getting pretty good, and he didn't golf when I was good, so he just sees me as a trash golfer. Like, man, you used to be good. Yeah, like, yeah, right. Some of my boys be like, yeah, man, he used to be real good. Like, but so he doesn't believe it. So I got to get back just to show some people that I could do it. And then I just got really scared, like being Charles Barkley. He's like, I don't know how that man still plays golf. I love it, but like if I'm shooting in the hundreds and 90s, just can't make contact with the ball for 20, 30 years, like I would pick up fishing or do something else. Like, I don't see how these weekend warriors can just be trash or something for 20, 30 years. I understand, like, it's still fun. It's a getaway from the wife and kid, but like, I would be like, I got to figure this out a little bit. Like, I'm not just going to come out here and just be trash and suck for 20 years. So it's like, I got scared of becoming Charles Barkley. Like, you were good or decent, and now you're just trash and you're still playing golf for 20, 30 years. Like, that can't happen. So I got to figure it out now. I'm going to document it, see if I can get back. And so this is going to be my path to scratch golf. Day 1, I will post a lesson, do all that, and see if I can just get right. Hopefully I can. Pray for me. Not looking out for me today, because look, it's my first day at a lesson, and he decided, I don't know, hold on, how I flip the camera, I can't do it, but it's raining. I'm at the golf course and it's raining for my first lesson, but I suck so bad right now. I'm so trash. I'm gonna go out in the rain and try and figure it out. Pray for me. First rant on the path back to scratch golf. I got to.